In today's video, we will learn how to plate cultures on agar plates. There are two techniques that can be used. The first one is by streaking plates. One type of streak plate is by preparing a 3-sector streak or a T-streak. To do so, you begin by drawing the letter T on your plate and numbering them. 1, 2, and 3. You begin by taking your culture and spreading it in the first sector, going back and forth. You then, from the first sector, streak into the second sector. When doing this, you want to make sure that you do not cross back into the first sector. By doing this, that allows you to dilute or spread out your culture in the hopes of obtaining isolated colonies. From our second sector, we then streak into our third sector, again making sure that we do not cross back into either the first sector or the second sector. Today we will learn how to streak a plate from a liquid culture using several techniques. The first technique is by preparing a T-streak or a 3-sector streak. To begin, you take an agar plate and on the bottom draw the letter T. Next, we'll turn on our Bunsen burner. Taking our inoculating loop, we will flame it to sterilize it. And allow it to cool. We then take our liquid culture, flame the lip, and then insert our inoculating loop into the culture. Flame the lip of the tube again. And then taking our plate, begin by streaking in the first sector of the plate, going back and forth gently to make sure that you don't break the agar. We then reflame our loop, allow it to cool, then touching the area that we already streaked on the plate, touch it with the loop and drag into the second sector. Then streak. We again reflame our loop. Allow it to cool. Touching in the second sector that we previously streaked, touch and drag into the third sector and streak again. We reflame our loop. And then we write the name of the organism that we just plated on the plate, today's date, and your initials. We can also streak plates by preparing a 4-sector streak plate. To do so, begin by drawing a cross on your plate such that you have 4 sectors. And you'll want to label them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You begin by streaking in the first quadrant. like so. We then drag from the first quadrant into the second quadrant, again ensuring that you are not crossing back into the first quadrant. From the second quadrant, we move into the third quadrant. And finally, from the third quadrant, cross into the fourth quadrant. To prepare a spread plate, begin by turning on your Bunsen burner. Add your liquid culture to the plate. Take your spreader, dip it in the ethanol, tap off the excess, and pass it once through the flame. Allow the spreader to cool. Open your agar plate, touch the spreader to the agar plate, and begin to turn the turntable, and at the same time begin to spread the culture on the agar plate. When the culture has been spread out and you begin to feel a little bit of resistance coming from the agar, stop, replace the cover, dip your spreader back in the ethanol, tap off the excess, and pass through the flame once. Turn your plate over. Label the organism name, the date, and your initials.